Level 1. The heir. You are born into a name before you are born into a body. The hospital wing is private, and the flowers arrive before you do. Your father is on a call before the umbilical cord is cut. You grow up in a house with 14 bedrooms and one father who is never in any of them. Nannies teach you to read a balance sheet before you can spell your own name. You wear a suit to your 5th birthday party. Other children build sandcastles. You build a model of a shipping terminal. Your father calls you the future more often than he calls you his son. You learn the company's origin story before you learn your own street address. The house staff outnumbers the family at every dinner. You ask your mother where your father is. She says, building the empire. At night you hear boardroom recordings played back like bedtime stories. You do not know yet what the empire costs. You do not know yet that you are already an asset. Level 2. The shadow. At 13 you sit in board meetings instead of classrooms. You are told to watch and say nothing. Your father introduces you as my only son, like a product launch. Executives shake your hand too hard, smiling at the wrong things. You learn to read a room before you learn to read a novel. Your friends stop calling. The distance was never geography. Summers are spent in ports, not on beaches. You memorize shipping lanes the way other kids memorize song lyrics. Your father says loyalty is currency. He never explains the exchange rate. You watch him fire a man who has worked there for 20 years. The man cries. Your father does not blink. You realize the empire does not do sentiment. At night you practice your father's signature in the margins of your homework. You do not know why. You just know you will need it one day. Level 3. The new hire. Your father sends you to the smallest office in the smallest port town. No title, no driver, no last name on the door. You share a desk with a man who has no idea who your father is. You answer phones. You file paperwork. You wait. The coffee is bad and nobody makes it fresh for you. You work 11-hour days for a salary that would embarrass your father's dinner reservations. Colleagues test you, unaware, waiting for you to fail. You almost do twice. At night you call home. Your father asks only one question. Are you working hard enough? You say yes. You are lying and telling the truth at the same time. You learn the business from the bottom. The way he insists builds character. You do not learn if it built his character or broke it first. You start to understand what the staff at home never said out loud. The empire eats people. You are being taught how it chews. Level 4. The analyst. You are promoted quietly, without ceremony. Your name appears on reports nobody reads until something breaks. You catch the first fraud by accident, buried in a shipping manifest. You report it. Your father tells you to file it, not fix it. You learn the difference between what is legal and what is right. It is a wider gap than you were told. You start losing weekends the way other people lose keys. A woman you love asks when you'll slow down. You tell her after the next deal. There is always a next deal. She leaves before the deal closes. You tell yourself the empire is worth it. You are not sure yet if you believe that, or if you are just repeating your father. Sleep becomes a transaction you keep postponing. You start to look like the men in the boardroom photos from 10 years ago. Level 5. The regional director. You run 12 ports now. You have not slept in most of the cities they are in. Your calendar is managed by 3 assistants and understood by none of them. You fire your first employee. It is easier than the second time. It gets easier every time after that. That fact does not comfort you. Your mother calls to ask if you're eating. You cannot remember your last full meal. You miss a funeral for a merger. Nobody at the company asks about the funeral. You start speaking in the language of quarterly targets instead of feelings. Old friends post photos of lives you no longer recognize as normal. You are not lonely. You are simply alone, and you have stopped noticing the difference. Your father visits once. He does not say he's proud. He says the numbers are acceptable. Acceptable is the closest thing to love this family exports. You take it anyway. You start drinking the same coffee your first supervisor drank. You do not remember when you started resembling the machine instead of running it. Level 6. The vice president. You have an office with a view and no windows that open. The board treats you like furniture that occasionally speaks. You discover the empire's oldest deals were built on debts nobody ever intended to repay. You bring it to your father. He tells you some foundations are better left buried. You understand, for the first time, that the empire was never clean. It was only ever quiet. You learn to be quiet too. The silence pays better than the truth ever did. You buy a penthouse you are rarely in and a car you rarely drive. Golden handcuffs, someone calls it once, at a party you don't remember agreeing to attend. You laugh along. The joke is closer to your bones than you let on. Executives court your approval like you are already the king. You have not been crowned yet. They already treat you as if you are. You start to understand the throne is built before the man ever sits in it. Level 7, the successor. Your father's hands begin to shake before his voice does. The board starts routing decisions through you without asking him first. You watch him pretend not to notice. He calls you into his office and says the empire is yours to hold, not to own. You do not understand the difference yet. You will. You take over deals mid-signature, mid-sentence, mid-legacy. Employees stop looking past you to find him. It should feel like victory. It feels like inheritance of a debt with no due date. Your father grows smaller in rooms he used to fill entirely alone. You realize the empire does not wait for anyone's father to be ready to let go. You sign he does not come inside the room. Some thrones you climb. Others are handed to you mid-collapse. Level 8, the chairman. You sit at the head of the table now. The seat is colder than you expected. You spend your days managing men, not managing ships. The empire runs itself. You exist mostly to take the blame when it doesn't. Reporters ask about your vision. You give them a sentence written by someone else. You have not personally touched cargo in a decade. You have touched more lawsuits than you can count. The board smiles at you in meetings and calls other men behind closed doors. You learn the politics never stop. They only change which door they happen behind. Your father dies on a Tuesday, quietly, the way men who built loud things often do. The company observes 1 minute of silence and reopens the markets. You realize the empire mourns nothing longer than 60 seconds. You inherit his office. You do not inherit his certainty. The chair still smells like his cigars. You do not have the heart to replace it. You sit in it anyway, because someone has to, and the someone is always you now. Level 9, the king. The press calls you that now, half joking, mostly not. You run an empire spanning 40 ports and 6 flags. You have not eaten a meal without a phone on the table in 11 years. Your marriage ends over a conversation you were 7 minutes late to. You are not surprised. You noticed the distance long before she said the word divorce. The empire does not pause for divorces any more than it paused for funerals. You finally see the whole machine, all the buried debts, all the quiet arrangements. You understand now why your father called some foundations better left buried. Digging them up would collapse everything standing on top, including you. So you do what he did. You leave them buried and call it stewardship. The empire was never yours to fix, only yours to carry. You wonder, some nights, who is carrying you? The answer arrives quietly. Nobody. Nobody ever was. Level 10, the ghost. You step down on your own terms, which is rarer in this family than anyone admits. The board throws a dinner. Nobody there has known you outside a spreadsheet. Your office is repainted within the month. Your nameplate goes into a drawer, not a wall. The quiet afterward is the loudest thing you have ever heard. You do not know how to fill a Tuesday that does not belong to a quarterly report. You visit the old Port Town office where you started, unannounced. Nobody recognizes you without the title attached to your name. You find that strangely peaceful and strangely unbearable in the same breath. One afternoon you see a boy in an oversized blazer shadowing his father through the halls. The boy is being introduced as the future to men who are already tired of hearing it. He does not know yet what that title will cost him. He does not know about the marriages it will end, or the fathers it will bury quietly. He does not know the throne is built long before anyone sits in it. You don't. You just watch him disappear down the same hallway you once did, wide-eyed and unaware. He will learn. They all do. The cycle continues.